Hey, real estate agents, welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Underwood. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. The man with the plan. How's it going, Joey?
I'm doing good. I am super excited about this one. We've been trying to get this guest in here for ages.
We have, and he's joined the Real Estate Marketing Maniacs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Here at Security Title Studios. Welcome, Grady Young.
Thank you, guys. I'm very excited to be here. A little nervous as well, but I'm more excited.
He's one of the top dogs here at Security.
Yeah,
I'm telling
he is.
Yeah, I don't know about a top dog. They give me different titles. I just make different decisions.
You do some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what? Before we get into the topic that we want to talk about, right? You went on an amazing trip over the summer.
I did.
And I mean, I've always wanted Turks and Caicos, right?
Yes.
So my wife and I, we always wanted to go check out that place. I mean, so tell me, how white really is that sand, and how awesome is the water?
Okay, so if I took off my shirt in wintertime, that's how white the sand is. It's
Wow.
like, it's white, man.
blinding.
It's like blinding. Yeah, you have to wear shades the entire time. And the water is just perfectly turquoise clear. I mean, it really is beautiful. The people there are amazing. My wife and I have been wanting to go there for a long time, and so we've researched so many different things, and we ended up staying at a condo right on the beach, oceanfront. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great food, and just the whole island vibe, and people walking down down the beach, playing reggae music. It was a really good time.
Cool.
Yeah,
And
long time to get there. It took like 13 hours to get there.
13 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
So did you Airbnb it?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was definitely the way to go.
And you snorkeled, right? Is that, or you went out on a?
So we chartered a boat, and
Yeah.
they take you off, I think it's the third largest barrier reef in the world, which I didn't know about. And they take you about a mile out. So it's kind of freaky because there's other boats out there, but you're like 50 feet deep of water. And the whole family jumped in. So my wife, my two daughters, my son, and my wife is not very comfortable in the water. So she got in. There's a little bit of a chop. She got out. My younger daughter, then she got scared. And my littlest one, who's 4.5, who was just killing it snorkeling, she saw mom and my middle daughter get out. So they all got out. So me and my son just braved it. And I have never seen so many fish in my entire life.
Wow.
These reefs, I saw a crab that's half the size of my body. It was amazing. I mean, I've been snorkeling in Hawaii, up and down the California coast and Florida, and I've never seen something like that. So the snorkeling there was amazing. By far the best of my entire life.
Oh, that's great. I'm gonna have to go check that out. Take my wife with me, of course. But.
We went to this place called Iguana Island. So it's literally an island.
Oh, yeah.
It's just covered with iguanas, and they're like super cool. They like come and like eat food out of your hand. It's just it's a very cool
Kinda
place.
like pigeons.
Yeah. Like pigeons, yeah, but with a tail.
Wow, wow.
And green.
I've heard of Pig Island, but I don't not.
Yeah, I didn't find the Pig Island, but we did find Iguana Island. And
that is so funny.
Yeah.
No, that is cool. Well, I guess enough of the fun stuff here. But what about what's going on in the title business? I know there's a lot of buzz about certain things. So you want to give kind of the agents a?
I think if I were to sum it up, the last couple of years have been amazing. Great market, a lot of openings, a lot of closings, but joint ventures have been really hitting our local market pretty hard.
Yeah.
Started a couple of years ago, and those are probably more, I wouldn't say legit, but better constructed joint ventures.
Okay.
Now they're popping up everywhere, and one of our main competitors, they have a joint venture, and they won't hop into that joint venture unless that broker can guarantee 80 to 100 and some odd deals per month. Okay. Because when you go into a joint venture, most of the time you split the title revenue. So the escrow company keeps the full escrow revenue, but you split the title revenue, and that's about a third of the revenue of a transaction.
Okay.
So when you do something like that, you need that volume. Otherwise, the escrow officer that's closing those transactions, they lose a lot of revenue, which means they make less commission.
Yeah.
Which means it's harder to make them happy. If they're making, let's say $100 per deal, and now they're making $50 and working just as hard, that motivation is hard to keep, and thus your service could possibly drop. So, those have been popping up. There's other ones that don't require as many transactions per month. They'll do it for about 40 some odd transactions. They still split the title revenue, but what happens on something that small is that the agent sacrifices service. So we have amazing escrow officers. This one branch that is affected by it, that escrow officer, her agents have her cell phone. They can call her 10 o'clock at night on a Friday or Saturday. She picks up, she solves problems. Her whole team is dedicated to getting that deal closed, to providing that top level service. So when you start a joint venture, you have a whole different escrow officer, someone that doesn't have that commitment, that doesn't have that drive, that doesn't have that customer service to make sure that that agent's taken care of. So once that happens, the agent or broker, they make a little more money because they're getting, half of the title revenue, but the service that they'd experienced in the past no longer exists because people don't have the same commitment when they're making less money.
Yeah.
Another way, sometimes there's another title company that does the same type of thing, and they say they compensate their escrow officers the exact same, so there's no loss. But what they do is they add an extra work charge, which could be up to $500 on the escrow fee.
Yeah.
So then the agent still could possibly get that same great service, but now the buyer and seller are paying more revenue, more fees for that same transaction they can get somewhere else. So for me, I understand an extra revenue stream that a broker wants. I totally get that. Sure. It makes sense. But if they're sacrificing service for themselves, if they're sacrificing service for their clients, that for me is kind of an issue. And if they go the other way where they're not sacrificing the service, but then the people they're bringing that they trust are paying more fees, that's a really big issue. So that's kind of some of the stuff we're dealing with. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's just something we're going through as an industry, and I think it'll right itself the more people understand that, one, there's no neutral third party. So if you're a cross-sell agent and you're making an offer and that agent is part of a joint venture and there's an escrow dispute, who do you think's going to win?
Yeah. Oh,
So that's a concern for a lot of agents. So for us as a title company, just dealing with that, keeping our people happy, we're still providing amazing service for our clients, but having that balance of, hey, they want to go over here, if they want to make some more money.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge for us right now.
Yeah, and we've been hearing a lot of buzz about that out in the industry for sure. So the two things, I can imagine that first scenario you talked about where maybe the agents and their clients are getting awesome service, like you said, right?
Yep.
Whether it's answering the phone after hours, before hours, over the weekend, whatever that is, right? Accommodating, right? And however, when a JV comes along or the opportunity comes along, you're talking about now that person might only say, hey, office hours are 8 to 5. That's the only time I'm going to give you service, period. And that's where the issue happens, right? I mean, as far as the service side.
From what I've seen, yeah. I mean, that like we have one office and there's a JV with some of the clients. They're going to come together. They only need about 40, 50 deals, and our escrow person's staying with us because of what we have, what we provide for them. And so we might lose 34 deals a month in a specific branch, but now they have to find a whole other escrow officer, someone they're not used to. Right. They don't know the skill set. They don't know if they're going to answer the phone on a Friday night or a Saturday night because that escrow officer they're going to get is making a lot less money because a third of the revenue is gone.
Right. Yeah, and I see the second scenario being, I mean, if my client as a buyer or a seller were having to pay extra in fees just so there can be that relationship, I could see how that could definitely raise some red flags at some point.
Totally, and obviously there's two sides. So if you're the agent that's part of the joint venture, you're directing a client there or directing a transaction there knowing that buyer or seller is going to pay more in fees.
Yeah.
If you're the agent that's not directing it, but you're just letting that deal go to that title company, now your client's paying more money and they're not getting the better service. So there's a lot of issues, and honestly for that, if that's a scenario, broker, agent, beware, because that's exactly what the CFPB has been looking for, is overpayment. Clients are overpaying for title insurance or any type of fee.
Right.
So if that broker at that joint venture, if their fees on let's say a $250,000 transaction are $500 or more than they would be at a brick and mortar that title company has that's not part of a joint venture,
right,
that's a big issue. And there's only two ways to do it. You either sacrifice service or you make the client pay more.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it.
Okay. And these have been, I know you said a couple of years ago they kind of started, but this, like the ones that we're talking about here, I mean, is this something fairly new, just within the last few months? Or?
So in Arizona, we've always had a couple companies that have had joint ventures, but it's really probably the last couple of years, definitely last year, where they're smaller and they're making different scenarios that kind of make sense so they can get those smaller volume brokers to jump in and combine forces and do a joint venture. And honestly, our company provides great service. We have amazing resources for our agent. We hire the best in the business, and I know we're not going down that joint venture path. We'd rather have fewer deals with greater service and get full fees than sacrifice, get more deals with fewer fees, and not be able to provide that great service that we're known for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the brokers are going to have an important decision to make here. I mean, it's
I agree.
Unfortunately, as we all know, money sometimes just
Talks.
I guess you could say that. Right?
It does. And, if let's say if you're in a hurry, you might go to a Burger King. You can get a quick sandwich there.
Yeah.
Not really healthy. You might not feel good about it, but it's a quick solution. By no means are we like the Ruth Chris or the Capitol Grill, but when you go to those places, you get great service. You're not going to ask if you can get the steak for $10 less. When you're going there, you're getting great service. And so I think that's what we pride ourselves on, our great service. And if someone wants to eat Burger King, that's great, but it's not good for your health, your weight, or really anything else, So
and it has a burger in there.
And
so
don't go to any Burger King title shops, stay, eat healthy, get a salad.
So that brings up something, one of my friends, they don't have a new Mercedes, but he has an older Mercedes.
Yeah.
And so he does take it to the Mercedes dealer, anytime it needs servicing.
Yeah.
And he said, I've had a Chevy basically all my life, and the difference between going to say the Chevy and hopefully Chevy doesn't get mad about this, but I like Chevy, by the way. But I mean the service level, right?
Yeah.
Between the brands is night and day.
Totally.
So
I drive a Ford. And I go to Camelback Ford down the street. The service level they have is amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. I've taken my car there since I've been up here, so over 6 years. I bought my car there. They're probably the same price for an oil change as like a Big O or Big O tires. And nothing against Big O, but when I go drop my car off at Ford, they come out, they take care of me, they wash my car. There's cold water. There's TV in the lounge. They'll drive me to the office. They'll pick me up from the office, no charge.
Free Wi-Fi.
And so it's not a lot, but the service is there. And I've had my same, I've had two different tech reps there that kind of service my car. They know me. I can text them, hey, I'm coming in tomorrow morning. Oh, see you there at 7, Grady. It's just the level of service. I might pay just a hair more, but for me, to have that personal touch, it makes a world of difference. And I think that's something that will be taken from our industry if these joint ventures take over, because there's not enough money. I think we'll lose some of our talented people. They'll go other industries where they can make more money and provide that service. So for me, our company, we're just pushing the service. We're staying loyal to our clients, knowing that hopefully they're going to get bad service and they'll come back with us. And, we're going to stick it out. We've been here for 42 years, and hopefully we'll be here for at least another 23.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I guess I should say that not all Chevy places are probably bad, right?
Yeah.
No, I like Chevy. I mean, we have a GMC, but no.
But I guess the point that the point exactly is, if it's a place that just a general one-off, the vehicle that everybody's buying, right, is going to be different than that high-level service you're going to get from the Mercedes and the. So,
I agree.
Same thing in the title world.
I agree 100%.
So,
well, as real estate agents, we always want our clients to have the best service. When they're dealing with us, when they're dealing with our real estate partners, right, with Security Title or whatever other title company or our mortgage partners, we want to make sure that they have the best service rather than taking money out of their pockets, right, so that they can pay more for less service. And that money then goes to the brokers or whoever.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. We have a really good client. He's been a friend of mine for 12 years. Their team does an amazing job. And he's been hit up and met with a couple different joint venture companies over the last year or so. And he always talks to me, and this is what they're saying, this is what they're doing. And I'm honest. I'm not going to lie and tell them, hey, you know what? With what you do and what you can direct, you'll probably make a decent amount of money with that.
Yeah.
But you're going to sacrifice service because the escrow person you've used for the last 5 years won't go. They're not going to make enough money. And honestly, you probably make 10 to 20 grand more per month. It's not worth it to him to lose the service.
Yeah.
To lose 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 referrals over the course of the year because the service dropped. And right now, their referrals are off the chart. So, it's pretty cool to listen to someone that's at that level, that all he cares about is service, the reputation of his team, and not to tarnish that. So they're all out there, and it just depends on what that specific broker's needs are. And I understand.
Well, and their name's on the line. I mean, their brokerage name is on the line, too, because let's say they get involved with this, and a year from now, the whole thing implodes, right? And it gets out, or whatever the case, right? And I mean, they're putting their reputation, they're putting their their name out there as. So I think they have to be very careful. They need to think long term versus short term.
Well, what do they say usually? The real estate market's like a 10-year cycle. I think we're coming up on year 8. We're in year 8, depending on who you talk to. So we got a couple years of a great market. I mean, our inventory is a little over 17,000 homes right now. The ninja loans are coming back. All sorts of stuff it's just crazy. And so I don't know if they're trying to make the market implode on us. But when that slows down, that same small JV that only needed 40 deals now can only direct 20. Now they're not even making any money, and they're stuck with that same service. And so a lot of times, we'll have employees that say, I'm going to go work over here because they've offered me X amount.
Got it.
I said, okay, well, my title, and my boss, the president, her title. Do you have our cell phones? Yeah, I text Patty last week.
Yeah.
And did she answer? Yeah, on the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get that somewhere else? And when the market slows down in 2 years, how we keep our employees. Do they do that? Well, I don't know. And so, that little bit of money up front can create a lot of long-term pain.
Yeah. I think your phone just went off. I think it's somebody asking, hey, Grady, where do I get a ninja loan? No, I'm just teasing.
We don't work with those lenders, but I know they're out there.
Oh, man. All right, man. Are you ready to get in the ring?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So what's the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
You know what? One of my first mentors, in fact, I can connect the dots to being here. His name's Ross Anthony, good friend of mine. I was moving to Arizona, and I was concerned about, getting the correct pay for coming out here. And he said, you know what, Grady, you will always get paid what you're worth. And that's a personal thing.
Sure.
Whatever you think you're worth. I mean, you can't say I'm worth $1 million because people might not see that, but you'll always get paid what you're worth. And when I came out here, I got paid what I worth. When I applied for a security title, I got paid what I was worth. And that's something I passed on to a youngster that I met a couple weeks ago in an interview, just to always know what your self-worth is, and you always get paid what you're worth. So that's
great advice.
It's had a huge impact on me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. How about your favorite mobile app?
Audible. I listen to, the weekly closer every week, and I've never had that app. And for me, I get books given to me all the time, but I don't have time to actually read them. And I think Templeton Walker was on. He was talking about Audible, and I'm like, that is brilliant, and it's so simple. So I have Audible. I listen to about a book or two every single month, and it's re-energized me, it's refreshed me, and so I got to say Audible.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. Now I don't even listen to the radio. I just have my podcasts on, and I just listen.
Do you listen to yourself on the weekly closer?
Yeah, is it just the weekly closer?
With the bass in my voice, when I turn up the volume to 50, man, that car shakes, and it is so awesome. People are like rolling down the road. What do you listen to, dude?
Me.
Like, yeah. Welcome. Oh, that's funny. How about so if you've been listening to Audible, how about a book recommendation?
Right now, I'm in the book Tribes because you guys have talked about that.
That's a good one.
But the last book that I listened to, it was by Terry Shodine. It's called Scrappy.
Okay.
And Terry Shodine's a great author. When I first joined Security Title, I got sent, and I went through a speech class with her for public speaking. She has great books, and the premise of being scrappy is just to do things differently. If you give yourself that opportunity to get that at bat, whether it's you have an interview and you find out the person you interview likes the Cubs, and you go buy a Cubs hat and you say, hey, I want to be on your team, and send them a hat. Just little things to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. She has tons of stories from other professionals of how they got to where they're at by being scrappy. And so, great book.
That's awesome.
I passed it on to some of our salespeople, and she has some good advice.
Good.
So get scrappy.
Awesome. Get scrappy. How about one productivity tool or software that you use on a regular basis?
My notebook.
There you go.
I check things off.
Really?
Kind of like the one thing. So I'll write down the 10 or 12 things I have to get done that day, and then I'll go and I'll circle the top 3 I need to get, and then those top 3 what I have to get done.
Yeah.
It helps me prioritize, and honestly, I might not get all 3 of them done, but usually I get 2. Sometimes I get more, but I know whatever the most important thing I have to get done that day, I usually get done. And honestly, I get it done so much faster because I'm not multitasking.
Yeah.
We have an open door policy, and if you've walked around our corporate office, it's windows everywhere. So people just walk in, they call, everyone needs to talk. And so to have that one thing that you get done, at least I can leave the office at the end of the day saying, gosh, what did I accomplish? And if it's just that 1 or 2 things, at least lets me feel good that I'm getting something done. I'm taking those steps forward.
See, I like the notebooks too, but then I have Joey always telling me, why don't you have that on your phone? Here, use this free app, and you can put your notebook on your phone. I'm like, yeah.
So I'm very much like Joey. we had awesome escrow training, which is what Fidelity brands put all their escrow officers through once a year. And so when you have to check in, because you need 8 hours of credit as an escrow officer to kind of just make sure you're getting the proper training every single year, and I have to take it. And so they send you out an email and as a barcode. And so I was talking to Patty, she's the president of Security Title, and she's like, "Oh, I got to print out my barcode." I'm like, "No, you don't print it out. You have it on your phone here. You take a screenshot, and then you have it. And so when you check in, you just whip out your phone. You're not going to get a paper cut. You're not going to kill a tree." And I was teasing her, and she's like, "Oh, I just need to be like Grady." So literally, I go there. It's Thursday morning. This happened for 4 years. And this hotel is like 10 minutes from my home. It's at the Sheraton Wild Horse Pass. So I get there, and I'm going to check in, and I go to grab my phone. I left my phone at the house. So I didn't even have it. So I had a paper copy. It would have been in my briefcase. And so she had her phone. So, I like being mobile, but sometimes a piece of paper works too.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Drawing from the mask. Here you go.
Okay.
This is beautiful. What is that, velvet?
All right, let's see what you got.
What is the most adventurous thing you've ever done? I've skydived, I've scuba dived. Probably the coolest thing, it was scary at the time. I snowboard, and I've been snowboarding since I was like 16, right around the time snowboards were invented. When I was in my early 20s, me and about 5 of my friends, we went to South Lake Tahoe, and we went to the mountain called Kirkwood. And it is a monstrous mountain, amazing deep snow. It had just dumped like 3 feet. And so it was our first lift of the day. We take it up to the very top, and there's this cornice down to the right that you can take that's just a huge wall, amazing powder, and that's where everyone was going. So we got to where we can go down that cornice, and one of my buddies who's a little crazy, his name's Aaron, there was this roped off area that, was avalanche prone. And it was just completely fresh powder. And so he just screamed and took off. And then my next buddy screamed and took off. And so I'm like, all right.
Ropes usually mean don't go, right?
Yeah, they mean don't go. The red rope. It was a red rope too, which means you really don't go. And so we all started heading down this thing. And we were like halfway down, and then we weren't going anywhere. We were actually on the snow, and the snow was going. So it was starting to avalanche. So we got out of this little avalanche and opened up in this meadow, and it was knee-deep snow. Best powder I've had my entire life.
Wow.
Killer run. We got down to the count track. We were giving each other high fives, and these ski patrols pulled up, yanked all our tickets, and it cost $75 for that one run. I think the ski patrols are just pissed because that's what they want to do later on that day. Sickest run ever, and I still haven't forgot about it. So
worth the $75.
I'd do it again right now. Yeah, in fact, I'd pay $75 just for a run like that now
just
if I
try
could.
it.
Yeah,
oh, man,
that sounds great.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Snowboarding,
man.
Do you get to go up north then?
Yep, we have a little place in Pine Top, so I ski. I snowboard 4 or 5 times a year, and same group of buddies, we go to Utah once a year for a boys snowboarding trip, and that's one thing I'm good at. I don't think you can beat me down the mountain.
Do you wear a cowboy hat?
Just boots. My snowboarding boots are
just boots.
Just boots. They
I know
they
you're
have
into
spurs on
country
them.
music and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, they have spurs on my boots, and I wear the big belt. Just when I get off the mountain, I put the cowboy hat on. Get my yeehaw on.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
So that's some interesting information you had to share, and lots of changes happening. So.
The world we live in, our industry right now, it's constantly changing, and so I think it's just letting some things change and enjoying the ride.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, with Jeff Underwood, along with
Joey Sampaga,
the Real Estate Marketing Maniacs at Security Title Studio for theweeklycloser.com. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Adios.
All right. Good job.
Thanks, guys.
The Weekly Closer podcast is sponsored by Jake Krabby, NMLS number 877141 at Academy Mortgage. Are you looking to buy or refinance a home? Jake Krabby is your mortgage professional. Contact Jake at 480-442-9291. Jake Krabby is a loan officer at Academy Mortgage, NMLS number 877141. State license for Arizona number 0920357, AZBK number 0904081, and New Mexico number 877141. Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, and New Mexico 01451. Call 480-442-9291. Address 15333 North Pima Road, Suite 205, Scottsdale, Arizona 85260. Academy Mortgage is an equal housing